Hey guys, Boston Ramos, and yes, my voice is a bit hoarse. I had a little bit too much of a good time at the Dolphins game today. The Miami Dolphins defeated the New England Patriots 34 to 15. And don't let the scoreboard fool you. It was a dominating win by the Miami Dolphins, and needless to say, it's turned the doubt around for this Miami Dolphins team. I understand it is the New England Patriots. This is a team that the Miami Dolphins should beat, especially at how they are right now. But at the end of the day, a dominating win like this speaks value to what this team one should be and what this team could be. So with that being said, let's get into the post game review. All right, guys. So Miami Dolphins improved to 5-6 in the season. They've won their third straight game, their third game at home. They got two more home games. So currently at 500 at home at 3-3. But I believe two of the three losses at home. No, one of the losses at home was without Tua. My apologies. Either way, let's talk about it. We're gonna get into some team stats, go through the highlight, and then last but not least, go over box score. So in terms of like what players got, and then last but not least, address the keys to victory that I had laid out in this matchup. So first and foremost, let's talk about some team stats. Miami Dolphins had 23 first downs to the New England Patriots 14. The Dolphins were 4 of 12 on third down. Meanwhile, the Patriots were 3 of 14. So, converting a third of the first downs on third down was not necessarily horrible, but I feel like those numbers should be improved. You know, if we're talking about 5 of 12, maybe, and it's crazy to think about that, just one more third down conversion. It is what it is. I think the Dolphins have a little bit of improvement needed to be made in those type of departments, but we'll get there when we get there. Patriots, on the other hand, went 3 of 4, so not so bad for them. Fourth down efficiency, the Patriots were 1 of 3. Meanwhile, the Miami Dolphins did not attempt a single fourth down conversion. Let's keep it moving. Penalties. The Patriots had 10 penalties for 75 total yards. Miami Dolphins had 3 penalties for 17. This is speaking volumes. Earlier in the year, I was like, the Dolphins suck right now, honestly. They were a very undisciplined team and a team that just constantly kept on getting penalties, stupid penalties, and it was costing them games. Look at this Patriots team. 10 penalties for 75 total yards. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it's a lot. Meanwhile, the Miami Dolphins, 3 penalties for 17 yards. It's not a lot. Not a lot of penalties, not a lot of yardage. This is how this Miami Dolphins team should be going about their business. They should be handling the game through and through for the most part. I definitely agree there's going to be matchups, and we'll talk about it soon. But matchups that you should be in a competitive matchup, fine. The penalties happen. But in a game like this, where the Miami Dolphins should be favored, should dominate this Patriots team, they showed up. They didn't get penalized. They were efficient with their opportunities, and that's all you want from this Miami Dolphins team. In terms of turnovers, the Patriots had 2 turnovers, and the Miami Dolphins had 1. Time of possession, the Patriots 27 minutes 56 seconds to the Miami Dolphins 32 minutes and 4 seconds. Not a big disparity there, but it's always good to see the Miami Dolphins have a turnover difference, and then on top of that, time possession difference. So let's get into this highlight, and I just want to be forefront and say, there are times that these highlights, get cut down from what I'm doing here. So if it sounds like it jumps and it has a weird vibe to it, it's more than likely because I have to cut it out. I hope it doesn't happen on this one, but let's just see. All right, let's get into this highlight. So we got Mike McDaniel looking to get this Miami Dolphins team right on track and possibly win their third straight game. Early in this matchup, the New England Patriots drove down the field, took up a lot of clock in this drive. But oh no, it's off the upright, and it's no good for the New England Patriots team. But the Dolphins got to rolling. Jonnu Smith gets the Dolphins on the board with their first touchdown, second week in a row with a Jonnu Smith touchdown. And HM, man oh man, he's been looking like a solid running back one. Two consecutive touchdowns for HN. Tua was loving it. This Dolphins team is getting off to a hot start, 21-0 in the first half. And then Jalen Waddle makes his big catch just before the half, sets up a Dolphins field goal. In the second half, you got Zach Sealer, strip sack on Drake May, and Jordan Brooks is there for the recovery. And what a weird but funny celebration by none other than Zach Sealer. It sets up the Jalen Waddle touchdown 2 plays later. That's how it goes. And Stephen Ross doing his best Waddle impersonation. He's loving it. His team is finding his way back on track. Hey, but the Patriots weren't entirely dead here. Big down the field pass. Austin Hooper by Drake May here gets the Patriots a touchdown. They went for 2 on it, and they were able to convert. I thought I had the play in here, but I guess I cut it out by accident. It is what it is. But hey, Christian Gonzalez running down the field with a scuba score. This was after Tua got subbed out. Yeah, this was the play. I guess I got out of order here. But this was the 2-point conversion that they had. I think following the Christian Gonzalez play. My apologies. But yeah, anyways, Jalen Ramsey, second straight week, making a big defensive play to close out the game. Rushes Drake May off the edge, and it leads to the Dotson interception. So shout out to Dotson. Welcome to the team. I'm glad that he's here. And hopefully he keeps making those big time plays that this Miami Dolphins team needs. But yeah, Mike McDaniel helps this Dolphins team just inch a bit closer to his goals. But got to give big kudos to Tua. We'll talk about him in a second. But overall, the offense was efficient. The offense, it was either they stalled out relatively early in their drive or they sustained a good drive and got down the field and put points on the board, whether it was field goals or touchdowns. Last week, 0 punts last week. This week, not the same case, but still, great performance by the Miami Dolphins. All right, let's talk about the quarterbacks in this matchup. Let's talk about stats in general. We have Drake May, who went 22 of 37, 222 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, sacked 4 times for a loss of 39 yards. I wasn't able to clip off all those sacks, but, Chop Robinson got a nice one. Zach Sealer's always in the mix. He's just absolutely a menace on the defensive end. Also, Kendrick Bourne had a pass attempt, but it was incomplete. Tua, he went 29 of 40, 317 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, sacked twice for a loss of 9 yards. Not great. I would wish that, in terms of the sacks, I wish Tua would just not be getting sacked at all. But it is what it is. You can't be, too nitpicky here. But I think, Tua taking those sacks was unfortunate, but in the grand scheme of things, you want Tua to have those type of plays continuously, not all the time. But you just want him to feel comfortable back there and feel comfortable, taking a hit, etc. Rushing, the New England Patriots had 86 total yards on the ground. Antonio Gibson was the leading ball carrier with 6 carries, 31 yards. Behind him was Drake May, surprisingly, with 5 carries for 26. Down the list, Jakal Hasty with 1 carry for 15, and Ramondre Stevenson, 8 carries, 13 yards. So interesting to see there. Antonio Gibson starting to take a bit more of a lead role. That's been the story with this Patriots offense as of late in terms of the running back room. Gibson has been taking the lead role there, and I don't know. I like Ramondre Stevenson. As much as I don't like playing against him, I think if he gets a good amount of carries, I feel like he is a big time contributor, and he's going to get one to break loose. So, if Jerron Mayo is watching this, hopefully he can listen to that and take that information as he may. Miami Dolphins, not a great, massive production day on the ground for the Dolphins. 65 total yards off of 24 carries. Not the best stat line for the Dolphins rushing attack, but they were relatively efficient. We got HN, 10 carries for 32 yards. Jalen Wright, 7 carries for 28 yards. But Jalen Wright, I'm going to get on him in a second. We're going to talk about him. And then Raheem Mostert, 2 carries for 5 yards. They're really cycling Raheem Mostert out. And it's unfortunate. He just got paid. You would think, with putting that, amount of capital into Raheem Mostert, you think he would be getting more touches, but honestly, the running back room is pretty young, and they're trying to phase him out a bit, and it's a little bit unfortunate. I'm really sad in that sense, just in terms of the guy, the player, etc. Raheem Mostert, but he's had his pretty much lows of this season, and it sucks, but it is what it is. Patriots receiving, led by Demario Douglas with 5 receptions for 62 total yards, longest of 27. Austin Hooper, 5 receptions for 59, but that 59 of those yards came from that 38-yard touchdown reception. Hunter Henry, 5 receptions for 44, and Kendrick Bourne, 3 receptions for 30. For the Miami Dolphins, Jalen Waddle had himself a monster freaking day. 8 receptions, 144 total yards, 1 touchdown, longest of 29 off of 9 targets. He had 1 drop ball in this matchup. Jonnu Smith, continuous weeks with 1 touchdowns and then 2 just, peaking past 80 yards. Jonnu Smith just absolutely coming into the fold for this Miami Dolphins team at 9 receptions, 87 total yards, 1 touchdown, longest of 14. Tyreek Hill, not such a crazy stat line by him, but 5 receptions for 48 total yards. And HM, 3 receptions, 24 yards, and 2 receiving touchdowns. I'm going to keep it moving. We're going to talk about some fumbles. Drake May had a fumble, and it was recovered by Jordan Brooks. And then Jalen Wright had a fumble, and it was recovered by Christian Gonzalez. Let's keep it moving. On the defensive side of the ball, Marcus Jones led the Patriots in tackling with 8 total, 8 solo. He had 3 pass deflections as well, followed up by Jelani Tavai. And he also had 8 total, but 3 solo. 1 tackle for a loss, 1 pass deflection, and we're going to get into key stats now. Kyle Duggar, 1 tackle for loss, 1 pass deflection. Christian Ellis, 1 pass deflection, same for Christian Gonzalez, but he also had a touchdown off of that fumble recovery. And let's see, Marte Mapu had a tackle for a loss and 2 pass deflections. Christian Barrymore had a sack and a tackle for a loss and a QB hit. Braden Scholler had a sack, tackle for a loss, and a QB hit. And that's about it for the Patriots' key stats. The defensive stats for Dolphins not as loaded in terms of players that had defensive production, but you have Jordan Brooks with 9 total tackles, 7 solo, 1 tackle for a loss. Jordan Porter following him with 7 totals, 7 solo, 1 pass deflection. And then in terms of key stats, we have Javon Holland with 1 tackle for a loss, Tyrell Dodson with a pass deflection, and he also had an interception. I'm going to talk about that in a second. Jalen Ramsey, 1 sack, 1 tackle for a loss, 1 pass deflection, 2 QB hits. Zach Sealer, 1 sack, 2 tackles for a loss, 1 QB hit. Chop Robinson finally got his own sack here this week. He had 1.5 sacks and a tackle for a loss, 2 pass deflections, and 3 QB hits. So it seems like Chop is finally breaking through, which is interesting to see. Let's see how he progresses throughout these next upcoming weeks. Storm Duck with a pass deflection, Benito Jones with a QB hit, and Manuel Ogbo with half a sack and a QB hit. And that's about it in terms of the defensive stats. We can also add the Tyrell Dodson interception. Awesome to see that guy that we just picked up pretty much off of the Seattle Seahawks. He got cut, and in turn, the Miami Dolphins released David Long Jr., and then he just picks up David Long Jr.'s number, makes an immediate impact for this Miami Dolphins team, and helps close out this matchup between the Patriots. It's cool to see. Sucks to see David Long Jr. go. I think his time was valuable in Miami, but was not massively efficient, unfortunately. For the New England Patriots, Marcus Jones, 3 punt returns for 38 total yards, longest of 20. Malik Washington, 2 punt returns for 15 total yards, longest of 13. Kicking, Joey Sile had 0 for 1 on field goals and 1 for 1 on extra points. Meanwhile, Jason Sanders went 2 for 2 on field goals, longest of 51, and 4 for 4 on extra points. Punting, Bryce Behringer had 5 punts for 259 total yards, 1 touchback, 2 over in the 20, and longest of 69 total yards. Jake Bailey also had 5 punts for 240 yards, and 2 of them were in the 20, and last but not least, his longest was 53 total yards. Now, listen, don't let the scoreboard fool you. Miami Dolphins dominated this matchup. Miami Dolphins did not allow a single point up until about the third quarter in this game. And I'm not saying that that was not a valid touchdown. Like, yeah, he caught it, continued gunning, but it was a broken play. And then on top of that, then you follow it up with the freak fumble recovery for a touchdown. Fine. Patriots slightly made it a game there at the end, but the Miami Dolphins had secured victory pretty much heading into the fourth quarter. Aside from that, I think the Dolphins played well enough to, not warrant too many complaints. If you want to nitpick things, fine, but they're not really moving the needle for me in terms of saying, hey, they need to do this or that to get better. I definitely think I would love to see them run the ball a little bit more, which goes into the keys of victory. One of my keys to victory, especially on the offensive side of the ball, was run the ball, run it more efficiently, get Raheem Mostert a little bit more involved. They strayed away from that, and the running game wasn't madly efficient, but it wasn't utilized as much as I would have liked in terms of how I was expecting this to go a bit for the Dolphins. I was expecting a little bit more of a low-scoring game for both teams, slightly. And then to top it off, you also got to include, like, I don't know, just them pinning the clock by running running the ball. Also, I said, let's put pressure on Drake May. The Dolphins got 8 QB hits. I think that's a good amount of pressure in this matchup. They were able to convert on half of those with 4 sacks. So I think madly efficient, rushing the passer, converting on these sacks, etc., QB hits. So not so bad. I forgot, honestly, what the third one was, but if I had to guess, it was probably on Mike McDaniel. And it was probably for him to just, right the ship, point these guys in the right direction, and lead them with, like, just a tremendous amount of, like, hey, we're going to go out, we're going to do this, and that is our goal, and we got to achieve that. Whatever it may have been, I think the Dolphins were satisfied with how they were able to perform. I definitely think there are certain things here and there that they could, harp on, but that's only in the sense of, hey, we just got to get better doing this. And then once we start doing that better, then things can go even better overall. Now, I'm not going to get too high on this matchup just because it is the New England Patriots, and it's not a slight or dig at this New England Patriots team. I just think, they're not the best of football teams. But this is the stretch of the season that I was very, very concerned for the Miami Dolphins. And given how this season has gone, it makes it even worse in my head because they have to win. There's no way around it. They have to win this matchup. These upcoming matchups, just because you have a very valid and good football team in the New York Green Bay Packers. Then you follow up with the Jets, which I think will be a little bit of a lull of a game, but I think if the Dolphins overlook them, it's going to be very, very challenging for them. Then they have a pretty serious matchup against the Houston Texans, but then followed up with their final home game against the San Francisco 49ers, then on the road to close out the season in back-to-back games against the Cleveland Browns and the New York Jets. I think the Browns game might get flexed out. It is a Sunday Night Football as we speak. I think it gets flexed out. Let's see what happens. Let's see if famous James makes it a little bit more interesting. But 49ers, I will be a little bit more concerned if they are, in the mix and they're starting to get back a little bit healthy. Like, for example, this week, no Brock Purdy, no Nick Bosa, among some other injuries that they've been dealing with. So I don't know what the status of their game is, but I'm assuming it's probably not the best right now and probably not necessarily in their favor. But aside from that, Texans, I feel like that's a team that the Dolphins could get a win on, but they just lost to the Tennessee Titans. So down this stretch of the season, the Texans are definitely going to want to improve and solidify themselves as a valid playoff contender. So I think that's a definite challenge. So it could get hard. I know people are saying this is the easiest strength of schedule. It's just record, guys. It's just records. When you put pen to paper and you look at these teams, I don't think it's necessarily going to be the easiest strength of schedule. That's my take. But I'm very satisfied with this Dolphins win. I think winning in that type of fashion, pretty much almost shutting them out, had it not been for that broken coverage on the Austin Hooper touchdown, and then the scoop and score once we had taken two out. Like, it is what it is. It is what it is. I would have loved to see a shutout, but yeah, it happens. It is what it is. But that concludes this post game review. Let me know what you guys thought. I hope you guys are going to be enjoying this Thanksgiving week coming up. And to cap off this Thanksgiving week, we have Thursday Night Football against the Green Bay Packers on Thanksgiving Day, the last matchup of the day. So hopefully you guys are stuffed. Hopefully you guys are enjoying and sitting back and relaxing and watching that Dolphins game. And hopefully, just hopefully, they can get a nice win and get this Dolphins team back to 500 and hopefully put the Dolphins in the thick of it for this playoff race. I'm not going to go over the standings because there's a couple games in play, and by the time I say or post this, it just may be dated. So I'd rather save myself the harm. But I will say currently, as it stands, the Dolphins are just on the outside looking in. But if the season were to end today, the Dolphins would be the first team that did not make the cut. Let's just say that. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.